made himself unavailable for selection for Australia at the end of this year. Fletch, I actually had him on the Mowers Club. Scope and I spoke to him on Saturday.
Didn't leak that out.
This is what he had to say on Mowers.
Are you fit and available to go if Mel was to give you that call, mate?
Yeah. Pulled up sweet from the game. Coming back from my injury, I've had no niggles or anything, back half of the season, so that was good. But yeah, no, I'm fit, fighting. I wouldn't say I'm probably too fit right now, but I'm fit. I'm fit and able.
Are you fit and available to go?
That was Kalyn Ponga on the Mowers on Saturday, of course. On Tuesday, the Newcastle Knights released an official statement declaring that Ponga would be out of international selection. Here's what it said. The Newcastle Knights captain Kalyn Ponga has today informed the club he will be removing himself from eligibility for international selection for the Australian Kangaroos this year. I want to win a comp. For me, anything short of that isn't a success, Ponga said. When I'm done, I want to look back at my career with a positive reflection, including people saying he was a great signing and represented our community to the best of his ability. For now, I don't feel like I've earned that yet. That's why I've made this decision and will work hard every day to chase those goals. Late last night, Adrian Prezenko and Christian Nicolucci from the Sydney Morning Herald wrote that the NRL is exploring the possibility of banning Ponga from games next year. Former Australian captain and chairman of selectors Bob McCarthy believes Ponga should never be considered for Australia again after his decision to prioritise a Newcastle pre-season ahead of the Pacific Championships. I'd be putting the red lines through his name, McCarthy said. You don't knock back the Australian jersey. I can't see his reckoning there. It's the ultimate reward playing for your country. Players are meant to make themselves available for representative football unless they are injured, which Ponga is not.
Yeah, it's a tough one because, as I mentioned, if you're a Knights supporter, you'd just be going, how good's this kid? And if you're the CEO or the backers of Newcastle, you'd be going, we pay $1.4 million a year for this bloke.
Yep.
He hasn't played a lot of games. He very rarely plays the 27 games, whatever, including semi-finals. So it's a tough one. He hasn't had an off-season, as he said. So, but in saying that, you want the best players, and he would definitely have been in that squad.
Would he have been in your starting 13?
He would have been in the squad. I had him as a 14. A bit like how Queensland have used him. But I don't know. I'm torn between this one. I'd like to know what the listeners think. And don't forget, what if he did his knee playing for Australia, and then all the dramas from the Newcastle people going, we're not getting any compensation from this, blah, 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 all that sort of jazz. So,
well, tell us your story about turning down a representative jersey.
Well, my one was I was playing golf with the great Gary Stevens, who's a South Sydney legend, and I was getting married. So we proposed, we set the date in October, and it was early. You got to book it in a year early. And then I made the Kangaroos side to go over to England, and Chris Anderson was the coach, and I told him, well, I was talking to Gary Stevens about it, and Gary goes, oh, mate, you'll regret this. And I was thinking, in the back of my mind, I was thinking, there'll be another one. I'll be fine. And he goes, I'm telling you, I did the same thing. And I regret it, and I never played for Australia again.
Really?
Looking back on it, I should have gone.
Postpone the wedding.
Postpone the wedding. Because those tours are...
Do you think you skipping that, turning down selection on that tour affected you being selected again in the future?
No, I don't think so. I think I was just shithouse next year.
How was Chris Anderson?
He was all right. He was all right. When I explained it to him. I don't know. But at the time...
What year?
03. 03, yeah.
Could have been like an Andrew Ryan.
Could have been.
Or a Ben Kennedy.
Oh, BK would have been in the team anyway.
Nathan Hindmarsh?
Yeah, he would have gone. No, he was always
there.
established. I don't know about this one. As I mentioned, where do you stand on it?
I think playing for your country should be the pinnacle of our game.
Yeah.
But I think it quite clearly isn't. So in that sense, I understand Ponga's thinking.
As an honour, as an achievement, it is. But playing Origin then you want to be as a player and you want to test yourself against the best. It's Origin.
Yeah.
It's And especially after we saw what in Game 3 last year, that's the most hectic game of rugby league I've ever seen.
Correct.
You're not going to get that at Origin level, unfortunately.
At international level. And
At
particularly,
international level.
I mean, what are they playing for this year? Pacific Championship. Does it mean, like when you look back on your career,
No,
you say, I won X amount of Pacific Championships? Or do you say, I won X amount of premierships and State of Origins?
No, I don't think it's that. Obviously, a test cap is
Test cap,
test cap is very important, whatever competition it is. But I think it's just a bit it's a bit different for Kalyn because he hasn't really had an off season, and they've signed him for big money to win a premiership.
Why wouldn't he tell a fib?
Maybe it's not in his makeup.
Why did the Knights have to come out and make this statement? Why didn't they just wait to see if he got selected or not? Why?
Or maybe the other thing is he doesn't want to play. That's the other thing. Maybe this is a smoky. Maybe this is a fib. He's just saying because he's got a bit of Kiwi in him.
Would there have been
so maybe
any...
there might be conspiracy theorists.
Would there
Here
have
we
been
go. All Blacks struggling.
All Blacks?
All Blacks struggling.
Not All Blacks.
There you go.
Would there have been any pressure from the Knights to say, hey, you haven't done a preseason in a while. We're not getting value for money here.
May have been. And he's not throwing them under the bus.
Is that why the Knights came out and made a statement and Ponga, the statement was from the Knights, not from Ponga?
I'd imagine it would upset Mal. Mal could just turn around and just say, I'll never pick him again.
Plenty of choices at fullback. There's a world in where Reece Walsh bounces back to his best next season and then Kalyn Ponga isn't looked at for the next decade.
No one's forget. Yeah. He might rue this decision. I don't know. But at the moment, he's on the big money at Newcastle. He's come out. He wants to win a competition. He gets paid by the club. Yeah. So watch this space.
If every player had that attitude, though, we would be seeing the death of international football.
That's the other thing. Luckily, we're pretty strong in that position.
Do you care as strongly about international football as State of Origin or our regular premiership?
Yeah, I do. Because more and more, as we know, more and more Polynesians are excelling at our game. And there's nothing better. Like the knock on rugby league, and when you talk to Wallaby, rugby union supporters, they go, you've only got Origin. Your international football is dog shit.
Yeah.
The more we get the Polynesian kids coming through, and we've seen what Samoa did, they got into the final of the World Cup. That's what we need internationally. I think this is bigger than just Kalyn Ponga.
Can I get you to rank 3 things as a fan and then as a player?
Yeah.
Premiership, State of Origin, and World Cup. As a fan,
Origin
first.
Yeah.
You want to see New South Wales win first.
Yeah.
Second,
you want to see my team win a premiership?
And third, World Cup.
Yeah.
As a player.
Premiership. Origin 2.
Yeah, and I'm.
But that's being selfish, right? That's being selfish. You want to play Origin.
You've looked at it from 2 positions there, and both times international football finished last.
Yeah.
And I think most people would answer the same. I think you look at a game like the NFL, right? It doesn't need international football to be strong for it to flourish because the local product is so good. I kind of look at the NRL and it's growing and growing and getting better and better and better. The better the NRL gets, the less engaged I am when the grand final finishes and those internationals roll around.
And that's the other point. We saw that Origin didn't work after the season finished.
Didn't. Yeah.
All of a sudden, for whatever reason, the grand final happens and it's warm weather. There's a cricket test match not too far along. Maybe subconsciously we just think footy season's over. Do we bring back the Anzac test?
I used to like that.
Yeah, do we bring back, because you're in the middle of the season, that would get everyone going. But then the clubs blow up and the clubs go, I'm not releasing my players to play that. So, anywho.
All right, some other NRL news. By the way, if you have a thought on or an opinion on this Ponga situation, 0457 736 736. Text us in. We'll canvass the general opinions and read them out.
I think everyone's hammering Kalyn. This one here, mystery man. Fair enough if Kalyn was in his 30s and needed to recover, but he has never played for the Kangaroos and he's young and fit. Surely a goal for him to represent is Australia. Well, it's obviously it's not. His goal is to win a premiership. And you just asked me what's your goal as a player, and that's to win a comp.
All right, in other rugby league news, Josh Addo-Carr has been handed a breach notice, likely 4-week suspension and a fine. This is via Dave Riccio and the Daily Telegraph. Addo-Carr was issued with a breach notice believed to propose a 4-match suspension and a $15,000 fine by the NRL after returning a positive roadside test to cocaine. The Bulldogs have been offered by St George Illawarra to do a swap deal with Michaeli Ravalawa, which would involve Josh Addo-Carr heading in the opposite direction. The Bulldogs are understood to have rejected said offer.
Yeah, I wouldn't be doing that either. I wouldn't be. This is the Dragons trying to strike while the iron's hot.
Would the Bulldogs potentially be looking for a swap deal with someone in the NRL? Maybe not another winger, but boosting another position.
Well, the easy way out for them
If the Dragons had said, we'll swap you Ben Hunt, do you think they would have done it?
Well, maybe they're trying it. Maybe that's the next step. Well, he's on the nose there. He's on the nose of the Dragons. Where do you play him? You play him at 7?
Halfback, yeah.
I still reckon he's a better hooker.
We could play him at 14 and can cover both.
Oh, that would... Imagine having Ben Hunt, $1 million player on your bench. Far out.
Just got him in a swap deal.
Well, how do you see this ending? How do you see the Josh Addo-Carr?
I don't think he'll be at the club.
Neither do I. The way Gus has been speaking.
Pretty confident he won't be at the club. I think he'd be great at Souths. I think he'd be great at St George. I think he'd be great at the West Tigers. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bulldogs said to the West Tigers, hey, quickly, can we take back Jarrell Skelton and give you a Josh Addo-Carr? I think the reason it's taking the Bulldogs so long to come out and sever ties is that they're trying to manoeuvre pieces to bring in a replacement for Josh Addo-Carr because he's on a big pay packet. I think about 600 at the best.
Yeah. Here we go. This is from Dunny. I'm with a missile. Kalyn's dad just should have spoken to Mal and not the media. Helicopter dad. Yeah, he's a bit that. Oh, doggies are going after Cobbo, boys. Massive news. I still keep hearing the Roosters rumour. And if you missed it earlier, have you got that audio again? So before we get into this, if you missed this earlier, this was Peter V'landys talking about the Roosters' plight on not being able to sign players next year after their big four are leaving them.
Things that will attract the players, and not so much the players, but staff over there, is having a tax benefit. If we can make, tax incentive to go over there, even no tax for the first 12 months, you'll get a lot of people to go there because, some people are on 49% tax. If you can save that 49% tax, it's an incentive to go over there.
So that's just Peter V'landys helping out the Chooks because, the Chooks aren't going to struggle next year. They're going to miss 4 of their... What are you looking at me like that for? This is what we do. As I've mentioned, they're a foundation club. Got to keep them in. You don't want to see them falling to the bottom of the... as they say, when the Roosters are competing for grand finals, the league is healthy.
This is just a question as a fan. How many foundation clubs are they that have just been consistent throughout the whole history of the game?
1.
Just Roosters.
Newcastle, but they...
Are they foundation from
they
1908?
They were, but they had a couple of years off.
No, doesn't count.
Okay. It's only the Chooks. Because West Top Balmain obviously went. West went. North didn't come in a bit later.
Souths have come and gone.
South missed those 2 years. 2 years? 3 years? 2. Yeah, at the moment it's only Chooks. So you can't let them fold.
Yeah, it's getting close. The Dragons accept a $40,000 suspended fine from the NRL over the contract fiasco of Ronald Volkman. This was via Fox Sports. The Dragons have accepted a suspended $40,000 fine after the NRL issued the club a breach notice on Tuesday after the Ronald Volkman fiasco. Volkman left the Warriors last summer and signed a 12-month deal at the Dragons, but his contract was torn up in his first week after failing a medical. The 22-year-old was carrying a shoulder injury that required season-ending surgery, and St George Illawarra claimed they had been misled by the Warriors. Volkman went to see an independent doctor who confirmed that he needed the surgery, which could cost up to $50,000. The Dragons didn't have to initially pay out Volkman's contract because it hadn't been registered with the NRL, despite the fact he'd started training and the club had announced his signing.
Yeah, we had Jamie Brewer in here from the RLPA, and that was the big one. The Dragons says, yep, come and train. As soon as you give him a shirt and put him out the field, it's under your responsibility.
Yeah.
But then they didn't do the...
So will they pay Volkman out as part of this?
Oh, well, that's another thing. That's the other thing.
So
now,
when they say a suspended $40,000 fine from the NRL to a club, What would they have to do to trigger
to do
that?
it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe if you play up again. Who knows? But he's this kid who we've forgotten about him. Like the Roosters were really
He was
keen.
from the Roosters, wasn't
Well,
he?
he has a
Yeah.
rugby union background, and he's had that issue. He's still only 22. Halfbacks are hard to get. So, yes, Mitchie?
There was a rumour Sharks were going after him last week.
Oh,
So-
maybe thinking about because young Tricky Trindall
Trindall's heading
could
off.
be going.
Ooh.
See, Tricky might win the lottery here. He might get. There's talk about the Brisbane Broncos, Adam Reynolds retiring. So they could be desperate and say, because he's on 300 grand,
Yeah.
they could just turn around and go, this could be a bidding war. He could end up getting 700, 750, maybe 800. Tricky.
Funny you should say that because that was my next story here
There
from
you go.
Fox Sports. Is Braden Trindall on the move? The Sharks will reportedly move star playmaker Nico Hines into a different position next year amid the emergence of Braden Trindall. He's currently on $300,000 but could fetch double that with his next contract. He'll fetch more than double
Oh.
that, won't he?
Well, it
He'll fetch-
depends what you. The clubs can be very desperate.
Yeah, they could. They
I mean,
could give
okay,
him 900.
all right.
Someone-
I'll put this scenario to you.
triple that.
Jaden Sullivan got 700 to go the Tigers from the Dragons.
Yeah.
Is Braden Trindall a better footballer or better half than Sullivan?
On last week's form, yes.
Okay. Would you pay him 700? Toby Sexton's gone, Drew Hutchinson's gone, and you're looking for a halfback, and you can get Braden Trindall for 700. Are you paying it?
Probably.
Yeah.
It's just such a lack of halves, isn't it? He's keen to stay at the Sharks, but he's also willing to test his value when free agency hits on November 1. Who could use Trindall? Here are some options.
Oh. Everyone?
Cowboys?
Well, no,
Backup?
I wouldn't. I'd stick with the big
Dragons?
red dog. Yes.
Bulldogs?
Yes.
Knights?
Yes. Broncos. Yes.
Alrighty, so let's stay on the Sharks. You spoke about off air. The Tigers are having a bit of trouble. They've got 5 wooden spoons. Well, here's the opposite end. The Sharks, what a successful season for the club. The NRL men's are in the prelim final versus the Panthers. The NRLW and the prelim final against the Broncos after finishing 4th. The Sharks jersey flag are in the grand final against the Bulldogs. And the Newtown Jets, their feeder New South Wales Cup team, are in the grand final against the North Sydney Bears.
Oh, they're doing something right down there in the Shire.
Joel Klein has declared them the Dally M Club of the Year.
Just news in. I didn't know this. He signed like a trainer trial deal with the Sea Eagles. Ronnie Volkman.
Ah, good stuff.
That is good. Smart business. Because they lost Humphreys. And Daly Cherry Evans is sort of getting a bit long in the tooth.
And the neck. Save 50% on Body's Protein Water Powder with 100% WPI exclusively at Chemist Warehouse.